In the not too distant future, somewhere in time and space, a man was launched into the sky on a ship called the Satellite of Love, condemned to wander the cosmos. His captors, tormentors really, forced him to watch movies, cheesy movies, the worst they could find. He had to sit and watch them all while they monitored his mind. And this is where the answer to our first question begins tonight.
My question, I believe, was what was the origin of Master Pancake and how have they been able to sustain it for so long?
That is Jesse Davis. And if you don't know what Master Pancake is, it's a thing they do at the Alamo Drafthouse where everyone watches a movie or a TV show or something, and a handful of comedians crack jokes about it along the way.
Putting it together, searching for the clues. I think I found the killer. His name is Ted Cruz.
Do you see what was on the helmet? Could we rewind and just take a quick look?
What the f***?
Whoa.
My pain receptors are still on. This hurts very much.
But it's going to hurt most of all when my scrotum hits the fire!
Oh no, it's the chopper carrying Donald Trump's bronzer. It's been hit.
So Jessie's been going to Master Pancake shows for years. She and her husband have a tradition of going to the annual holiday show in particular. So she asked us about its origins and how it's still going, but Jessie also has other questions.
How did they come up with the name Master Pancake, and do they do any practice before these movies?
Okay, all right. And so where should I start? I guess that I should start with the guy who runs the whole thing. His name is John Erler, and he's actually here with us tonight. John Erler.
Hi, Matt. Thanks for having us.
Hey, really good to see you here.
I feel honored. We're in a very elite group of people that ATXplained has done stories on. We are right up there with the big question of who cleans the bat guano out of the Congress Avenue Bridge. We're right up there with what is that weird statue on the side of Mopac? And we're right up there with can I raise my chickens in Austin if my HOA says I can't?
You can.
That's good to know. Yeah, we're in an elite group of people, or things really, or strange enigmas or questions that only a crack team of public radio reporters can get to the bottom of. I'm interested in finding out some answers of my own tonight. Yeah, we're like the new Austin Rain Dome, or we're like the Austin Cobra. Does anybody?
What?
Oh no. Who remembers the Austin Cobra? A lot of octogenarians here.
We've never done a story on that.
You've never done a story on the Austin Cobra?
No.
The Cobra that got away from its trainer?
We've never done a story on that.
In 2015, 8 people remember this, right? The Cobra got away from its trainer, tragically killed. Its trainer was loose in Austin for like a week. It started its own Twitter account. That was a hit.
Okay.
You got to do a story on the Austin Cobra.
I'll take your word for
it. Anyway, well, I'm looking forward to that. Hey, yeah. I've got kind of a weird request. I'm gonna go down here. I'm gonna get out of your hair and watch your story and everything. But
okay.
Is it okay? Like, if I have a microphone in my hand, I just feel. Can I? Is it okay? Do you know? Can I just riff? Can I riff you while you do the story on us? Is that okay? Oh, I didn't expect that.
Okay, I guess we'll give this a try.
All right.
All right.
Cool. I'm just going to sit down here in the first row. Is
All right,
that
I'll
cool?
try to get through this.
Okay, this is where I do my best work at the Alamo Drafthouse. Here I go. Okay, could you, I don't want to like take over or anything, but could you rewind a little bit to Jesse's original question?
How have they been able to sustain it for so long?
Matt, the answer to that is that's what she said. Also, multivitamins and thinking about baseball helps. I'm here to answer your questions.
All right. Let's get to answering Jesse's main question. What was the origin of Master Pancake? And okay, so it goes back to the legend that I told you at the beginning, if you could remember back that far. This man condemned to wander the cosmos, forced to watch cheesy movies. It was a TV show where they'd watch movies and make jokes.
Talks broke down at this point.
It's like the Russian parliament.
Next on ESPN, Full Contact Nightgown Wrestling.
Designing Women, the Lost episodes.
And now the Manos Women's Guild will reenact the Battle of Pearl Harbor.
Matt, I don't know if you know this, but I don't like it when the original show is funnier than we are.
Okay, we won't talk about it that much.
Okay.
Okay,
let's move
Mystery
on.
Science Theater 3000, though, that show started on TV in 1988 on a local station in Minneapolis, and it eventually ended up on Comedy Central and the Sci-Fi Channel. It was kind of a cult show. It had a really enthusiastic fan base. They made 10 seasons of this show back in the, 90s. And then...
In 1999, Mystery Science Theater went off the air.
In the final episode of 1999, the spaceman and his robots fell back to Earth in the satellite of love. Here in Austin, Mystery Science Theater had fans. And those fans went to a guy named Tim League, who had recently started a little movie theater downtown called the Alamo Drafthouse.
People started approaching Tim League, asking him to show episodes of the show at the Alamo Drafthouse.
That's actually John's voice that we interviewed him earlier, but didn't want you to get confused about whether or not he's saying something funny over here. And so,
This is the real me right here.
The two Johns. Okay, so people asked Tim League to start running some of these episodes at the Alamo Drafthouse, but League was like, nah, we're gonna do our own version and we're gonna do it live. So he called up a guy named Germ Pollitt. He was in some local bands, he did some comedy, and Tim asked Germ to put together a team to do their own riffs on crappy movies. So Germ called John Erler, who had been working on his master's degree in classics at UT.
Why are people laughing at that? That is 100% true. To be more specific, my master's was on mythological allusions in the comedies of the Latin playwright Terence, but people don't believe me. It's true, but sure, just call it classics for the dummies.
We'll go with classics. John also had a show on the student radio station. He was even a backup host on KUT.
That's right. That's right. I got hired at KUT by accident. They misheard John Erler and thought I was John Ailey. By the time they realized their mistake, it was too late.
Germ also called Owen Edgerton. Owen was kind of a legend on the comedy improv circuit in Austin, and he and Germ had done a show together where they played these silly songs, so they already had chemistry. Okay, so the three of them, they have a team, and they got together and they started planning their first show, but they needed a name, something that would get people in the door, a name that would give the audience a sense of what they were walking into, something to bring in the fans of the defunct Mystery Science Theater 3000 TV show. That name was not Master Pancake.
The name of that show was Mr. Sinus Theater 3000. It's hysterical how ridiculously much of a ripoff that is.
So they had a name. But what movie would they riff? They wanted something kind of similar to Mystery Science Theater 3000, something old and weird, but not quite the same. So here's Owen Edgerton.
We kind of were going with the idea that we're going to do, at the beginning, riffing movies different than the original television show. We're going to make our own sort of we're going for R-rated films.
Something a little spicier than vintage sci-fi movies. So on September 24th in the year 2000, the guys hit the stage for the first time.
Doris Wishman's Nude on the Moon was our first movie that we ever did.
Now this movie is exactly what it sounds like. Two guys build a rocket and go to the moon where they discover a race of telepathic nudists. Although the nudists are really only topless, and the guys fall in love.
Matt, this is just footage of the Steiner Ranch Pickleball League. It's a typical Westlake quinceañera.
As kind of a joke, they advertised free admission for anyone who showed up nude. And it turns out a lot of people were really into that.
I remember one fella a naked man handed me his business card, which is a Hill Country Nudist Society, and you have to wonder, like, where were you keeping this?
So almost immediately, the show took off. People were lining up around the block to get into Mr. Sinus Theater 3000.
Yeah, those people were mostly Fredericksburg nudists, Matt.
So the show was more of a hit than any one of us expected. What was going to be a once-a-month thing quickly became 4 times a week.
So they goofed on other movies. The Gruesome Twosome, Double Agent 73, The Invasion of the B-Girls. Now this movie, it's about mutant women who kill men by fornication.
This must be the Hill Country Nudist Meetup. As you wish. Oh no, another victim of the Austin Cobra. Looks like he wasn't able to sustain like Master Pancake.
So they did these schlocky sexploitation movies in the 60s and 70s, and everyone was having a great time, having a good laugh at some bad movies. But they thought there was more to do.
At a certain point, we were like, what if we did kind of a different style of movie? What if we don't have to follow the MST3K formula?
So they did newer movies, bigger budget movies. One of John's favorite movies was Xanadu, the 1980 roller disco movie with Olivia Newton-John playing one of the 9 muses of Olympus.
That's right, Olivia Newton-John played Terpsichore, the muse of leg warmers and roller discos.
Still a terrible fiasco of a movie, but you know, a different style of movie than the original show would have done.
Then came Top Gun, Footloose.
We did Dirty Dancing, Karate Kid, Red Dawn.
And still the people came. More and more of them. The legend of Mr. Sinus Theater 3000 grew, just like the man who was launched into space. And then the spaceman came calling.
Somehow the people at Mystery Science Theater got wind of what we were doing, and they hit us with a cease and desist in 2004 and said, you can't call yourselves Mr. Sinus Theater 3000. And they were right. I mean, they had a really good point.
We surrendered at that point. I mean, they just wanted us to change their name. But I have to just jump in here and point out that since that cease and desist, we've become good friends with a lot of the cast members and the founder, Joel Hodgson, of the show, Mystery Science Theater 3000. So it has a happy ending. They don't hate us, and we don't hate them. Yeah. That was me and Joel at a show in San Antonio.
So they had to change the name of the show. No, still not to Master Pancake.
What we ended up with was a shortened version of Mr. Sinus Theater 3000, which was just the Sinus Show.
Show the Sinus, show the Sinus, show the Sinus, show the Sinus, show. They're right behind us, they're coming to find us. Please don't remind us, it's the Sinus Show. Show the Sinus, show the Sinus, show the Sinus Show.
John, Germ, and Owen continued their voyage. They'd prepare for each show by getting together and watching a movie, just kind of improvising jokes. Then they'd write a script and they'd rehearse. No, Jesse, not even now. It's not all just off the cuff. Some of it is, though. They'd put together a skit that had something to do with the movie. Somehow, it usually involved them being mostly naked. The whole idea was to make something that didn't feel like going to a movie, but more like hanging out with your friends.
Matt, quick question. How often have you hung out with your friends while doing dance numbers in a jockstrap?
There's an intimacy to the show. It's nice. I think that people want more intimacy and participation when they go out. And that it's fun to be in a movie theater and be able to yell out loud or to get to know the person next to you or just to laugh together.
Then, in 2007, after 7 years of doing their show together, their own satellite of love came crashing down to Earth.
Yeah, I'd say it was a bad breakup.
Call it creative differences, call it whatever. No one wanted to tell me exactly what it was all about.
Three guys doing it's like a band. There's a lot of time spent together. There's a lot of, difficult things that happen.
So the three went their separate ways. The Sinus show had come to an end.
VH1 Behind the Music will be right back after these messages.
Owen remained friends with John and Germ separately. Germ did not want to talk to me for this story. John wasn't done, though.
John wouldn't rest until he had been around Austin so long that nobody would be able to remember what he did exactly, so that ATXplained would have to do a segment on him to remind people.
So yeah, in 2007, I sort of regrouped, started a new, but very similar show.
John needed a name for this new show, and for that he went back to the list that the guys had made when they were naming the Sinus show.
And one of the names that we came up with was Master Pancake.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen them on the cover of such magazines as Sky Mall, Cat Fancy, Limousine Digest, and Black Men's Health. Now welcome them to the stage of the Alamo Draft House Ritz. It's your Master Pancake Theater!
Finally, we have Master Pancake, the show that still exists today. But why Master Pancake? What the hell does it mean?
It's very dumb, but people love pancakes.
It's completely random. It means nothing. Now it's 18 years later, a rotating cast of comedians, hundreds of movies and TV shows riffed upon, everything from Back to the Future to Zardoz. And in a lot of ways, Master Pancake is bigger than ever. During the pandemic, they started doing shows online that grew their legion of fans. Fancakes, they call them, to people outside of Austin. Here's one stream where John covers himself in baby oil during a show riffing on the Lost Boys.
Yep, there's a...
Someone is right now at home going, I'm going to check out that Master Pancake. I heard that's pretty fun. What the f***?
Matt, I just got to say, during pandemic lockdown, some people knitted, other people learned to bake bread. This is what I did to keep sane.
To each their own. It's a recipe that works online, but I think it works even better in person because it's not about bonding over movies that you hate.
I mean, you don't hate these movies.
Oh, no. We don't hate the movies. In fact, actually, if it was a movie we actually really didn't like to its core, that becomes less fun.
What Owen is trying to say in his own subtle way is that he really just genuinely liked Geely.
I don't think Master Pancake would last this long if it was about being cruel, if the jokes all came at the expense of the movies.
The most kind of fun is a bunch of people having a blast together. Like a bad movie suddenly becomes good. And in the end, we're all sitting around the dinner table laughing together like a family.
And that's the whole game, isn't it? Bringing a bunch of strangers together in real life, cracking jokes, feeling a kind of kinship with everyone in the room, intimacy. It's different than just going to the movies.
It is an Austin thing where, weird, silly, maybe pointless art becomes a place of community.
Owen moved to Boston a few years ago, but he still comes, Yeah.
Give it up for Owen.
Owen moved to Boston a few years ago. He still comes back to do a show from time to time. But John over there,
hi.
He's been at the center of this thing from the start. He's cultivated this community of comedians and fans that support and sustain each other. And that is what's kept it going. So a big hand for John.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're too kind. Thank you, Matt. That was great. I don't think we really answered a lot of the original questions, but some of the reasons why we call it Master Pancake will have to remain a mystery. You can talk to me in the alley after the show if you've got more questions. But I just want to thank you so much. That was really sweet, and just a fantastic job by you and your staff, everybody. What? Did somebody say? Who's talking?
It's me. Colby.
What is your name?
Colby the Cobra.
Colby the Cobra?
Named after my favorite cheddar.
Named after your favorite what?
Cheddar cheese.
Do snakes like cheese?
They love it, boy.
What are you doing here, Colby the Cobra?
I'm a little upset, you know.
Are you the Austin Cobra?
I am the Austin Cobra. Thank you. Finally, some recognition. Attention must be paid. Death of a salamander. You heard of that one, right?
I can only get about 50% of what you're saying. But I know it's really funny and good.
Well, I left the comfort of my home coiled up inside RFK Jr.'s brain and drove down here in my Cobra Kia to complain about the omission of the story. You know, you do your movies. Why don't you do some good movies like Suspiria or Usual Suspects? It's hard to hiss through this costume.
Yeah,
You try talking out of your breastbone. Anyway, look here, Matt. What do I got to do to get ATXplained to do a certain story? I got a friend, my buddy wants to do a story.
Well, he's got to ask us a question.
Like a trick question, or
no, like a real question.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I'll tell him. He sits by my basket and plays what I call a crazy flute.
Wait, he can go to ATXplained.org and ask his question.
Thank you.
And
Finally.
we will think about it.
Finally.
Who wants to hear ATXplained do a story on the Austin Cobra?
That's what I like to hear. I got to get out there and do some molting. I'm not talking about lava either.
What? Give it up for the Austin Cobra. That's Scott Chester. Scott Chester is the Austin Cobra. Matt, thank you so much. You're doing a great thing for Austin. We'll see you at the Alamo Draft House this Friday and Sunday. And on Twitch every Thursday. We do an episode of Murder, She Wrote every Thursday on Twitch.